Attawapiskat Chief Theresa Spence has been camped out on Victoria Island, which is in Ottawa, since December 11th, 2012, and now reaching into almost 30 days of a hunger strike, depending on when you're seeing this report. Her goal, a meeting between the feds and a representative of the Crown, which originally drafted treaties with First Nations. Here is some background information and on some of the events that are tied to this hunger strike. That is the Idle No More movement, which has made national media headlines across Canada and the US, internationally even. Idle No More was started by four women from Saskatchewan, and it was in response to Stephen Harper's Omnibus Bill C-45. On December 11th, protests across the country like flash mob round dances, teach-ins and rallies have begun. Theresa Spence begins her hunger strike on December 11th. And Kahnawake joins in Idle No More on December 14th, where a small group of people hold a tobacco burning next to 132, and discussions begin in the community about what and how the movement and how Kahnawake will participate in this. Female chiefs from Kahnawake, Aguazasne, and Kanesadake go to Ottawa to visit Chief Spence. Another big day was on December 20th, where a group of 250 people or more march up the 132 ramp of the Mercier Bridge. On December 24th, flash mob round dance at Agrion Mall, where hundreds of people participated. Hundreds of Kahnawake Rono, close to between 500 and 600 people showed up at Agrion Mall. The energy was amazing, I was told. And this was in support of the Idle No More movement. And other flash mob round dances had taken place across Canada, also in support of the Idle No More movement. So now in 2013, finally a meeting has been organized by the Assembly of First Nations, the AFN, with Prime Minister Stephen Harper and select Native leaders from across Canada. So here we are, Mohawk TV we are on our way, I should say, traveling to Ottawa to meet with Chief Spence and to discuss her plight in bringing First Nations issues to light here across Canada. So here we go. Kahnawake, and we are here sitting in Ottawa with Chief Spence. It's been 29 days now, am I correct, since you first started your hunger strike?
I think so. It's 28 or 29. I'm losing my track of the days.
Okay. So we're here to discuss the Idle No More movement, your reasons for starting this, and how the last 29 days have been for you. Let's start with a little bit of the history. How did you come to decide to do something like this?
Well, as a leader, I've seen a lot of disrespect from the Prime Minister, especially towards our leadership. And it's been a struggle with the leaders to accommodate their people, and it's important for our people to understand it's not the chief's fault. It's our hands are tied with the government. So it started when I was at the assembly back in November at the Quebec site, and the chiefs were expressing their concern about the violation of the treaty and the conditions the community were facing.
Mm-hmm.
And also there was a council member from Lake St. Martin. He was talking about what they were going through since the flood in their community, and they're still living in the city, and how the government is treating them. And he said, I already called help to the government, but he's not really responding, and he was asking for our support, and we couldn't do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It was really, I could feel his frustration, and because I went through that as we went for our third-party challenges when we declared an emergency, and we were put in third party, so that was uncalled. But I I feel this pain because I've been a leader for a while, I see the pain what our people are going through when they're suffering. So as I was listening there, I asked the Creator, I said, "Is there another way that we could get the government, respond to us and have a good relationship with us?" And I was talking to my Creator. I said, "I'm going to get up in a few minutes and give me the uh, words to say when I get up there." So when you start talking about a treaty, then I got up and I asked that questions: how many times are we going to protest and rally? How many times are we going to write a letter to the Prime Minister about our treaty? I said, the violation of the treaty. And I indicated that we were sitting here as chiefs, but our people are suffering in the meantime. Like, how long are they going to suffer? Like, there must be another way, I said. So that's when I announced I'm going to go on a hunger strike, and I advised the national chief to write a letter to the Crown and to the Prime Minister and to ask for that meeting, because this meeting's been overdue. It's been over 100 years since we signed that treaty, and to let them know, the Crown, what's going to happen if you don't respond. Like, there's going to be a big movement, and it's important for all the leaders to sign that letter, because we have all the regional chiefs and the tribal chiefs and the traditional chiefs and non-treaty chiefs too. It's important for them to be. It is important for them to be involved too. So that's how I, made my decision that day. So, and I know a lot of people are concerned, but as a woman, as a leader, and a grandmother, the pain is too much to carry, and it needs to stop.
Are you surprised by the amount of support or even reaction that you received from across Indian country, all over the world, it seems?
Yeah, I was trying to keep this quiet. I was just trying to get attention from the Parliament held, and I was surprised by all the Idomore movement, and seeing all the youth, coming together, and the women and children. Like, it's really good to see that. I'm honored to see that. Like, they're standing together, and I'm sure the chiefs are overwhelmed too. Like, I'm seeing the grassroots people standing behind them. It's important for everybody to be working together in the Idomore and the chiefs, because I know a lot of times we as chiefs were so passive towards the government, because we were afraid what the consequences will be happening to our community members. Like, for example, they would cut down our fundings if you were to speak up and stand on our grounds. So it's an honor to see that, and it's a message to the government too. Like, we're not going to stop until they renew that relationship with the treaty.
What kind of reaction have you received from Parliament from the first day to now, all these days later?
Well, I didn't really get any reaction. It's just from the media. The media is really looking at the negative stories to put on our First Nations, and like they're there to defend the government. It's obvious, because they're always looking at it's our fault, and I don't think they understand about the treaty. The treaty was to build the future together and to respect and honor each other. We're all part of the treaty. The Canadians, the First Nations, and the government, and the Crown. Like, it was the Crown that we made the treaty, but it's for the government to be the keepers in financial way. But they're violating so much. Look, all of these legislations they made. Like, they need to understand we can't be subject to their laws. We had our own laws before they came to our world. So it's important for them Canadian citizens to understand and study about the treaty, because they are part of the treaty, and they need to really honor that. Like, we, First Nation, in good faith, have been honoring and respecting and honoring the treaty relationship. So we did our part. Now it's time for their part to do that too.
What frustrates you most about the mainstream media in terms of some of their coverage? Now, you said that they've been doing a lot of the negative things, and of course there was a story recently that was released about the audit and things like that. What was your reaction to that?
Well, I'm not surprised. They all look at everything in a negative way, and for to see that audit. The Canadian citizens need to know that this process only took 10 days. Usually the protocols are months if they want to do the audit, but they were on a witch hunt for the court before in April. So it was a witch hunt, and the process was really rush. And there's documents that were available, but they didn't really ask for it. And we had a meeting with the regional director too of ANAC, and about the recommendations that came out from the comprehensive audit. And I told him, oh, it's good that we had this audit, because they will tell us how to improve, where our weaknesses are, but don't use it against us. And they give their words, they won't ever use it against us, but to go forward, not to look at the past all the time. So I'm surprised to see that. I know they're trying to distract the real reason why we're doing this. The movement and the hunger strike is about the violation of the treaty rights. They'll be amazed if they were to learn how the government has been treating us. For example, there was a Auditor General put recommendations to Indian Affairs and Prime Minister about the recommendations about the infrastructure, housing, and the clean water, and there was other things, funding, contribution funding. There was recommendations back in 2000 or 1996, but they never work on it. And it's hard for Canadians to understand what we go through in the remote areas until they actually see it. They would really see what's going on. So for this government to put lies about our First Nations, they're the ones who's failing to meet our needs, and even the contribution funding that we have, it's under their terms. We don't even have time to negotiate for it. And they'll give us a deadline. You take it or leave it, or you don't get the funding. It's and for a lot of people say we have free services. It's part of the treaty, health and education, and the services we have are the poorest services we have. And this is where the Canadian citizens don't realize how unfunded we are. And we pay tax too. Like we pay tax through when we go on an airplane, hotels, restaurants, and we contribute to Northern Ontario. Like the fundings that comes is mostly going out of the reserve, because we have to hire consultants, lawyers, and when we purchase materials for housing, we purchase it from our reserve, and the shipping is costly. So the economic is going off reserve. So this is where the government doesn't give details. For example, when they said $90 million, they made it sound like each person was getting 50,000. That's not true. It goes to the services that we have in our community. So they don't make their statements the way they do. Even, for example, for this audit, they didn't explain. It's the recommendations and everything. We find ways to improve it, and we told them we'll comply with the recommendations. So.
Well, it's not the first time that your community has made news, made headlines, if you will. But in the overall picture, what is it that you're hoping to accomplish, and do you feel at any point during this strike that you've done that?
Well, the purpose of this strike was to get a meeting going between the Crown and the Prime Minister and both levels of the government, the federal and Ontario, and all the leaders, because we need to sit down in round table and discuss the things. Like there's immediate needs for example, infrastructure, housing, clean water, and better education, and the land. The land is being raped from us for all these resources. And the treaty was about sharing. We share the land, but it's time for them to share, the benefits. That means revenue sharing, because we can't rely on the government no more. Because, we only work with one government, which is federal, and they only provide services. But if you had both governments involved, our community will be in good condition, not in third world condition. So I'm hoping this meeting will come out positive If not, then there's going to be a big movement and even maybe court cases. You know, and this is where I don't understand, why are we fighting our rights in court, even land claims, because it's in the treaty that we have that rights. So.
Has the Harper government accepted the meeting at this point?
I didn't really see official letter, but here was a statement by him that he's going to be there with the Prime Minister Duncan and other MPs, but we're still waiting for the Governor General. Like if the Governor General is not there, there'll be no meeting, because we asked for both of them because they're part of that treaty, and they should be honoring that meeting. All we want is a meeting. Like, they act as if we're doing something more than that.
Right.
Well, come there with our peace pipe and for them to bring their Bible, like the way it was when the treaty was signed. It was about, negotiating and talking. And with this meeting, the government's going to hear what in violation of treaty he has made. Like, he needs to understand it's the chief's responsibility to make a plan for their community members, not him. And he's been doing this with all these legislations without even engaging the leadership. And they have to be part of that government. Like that was the purpose of this treaty: be partners, and the leadership has to be part of it. Because right now, the way the government view our chief as spokesperson. But for us, we honor our leaders. We rely on them, and for the government, he needs to do the same. But they have to be part of it, because I see a lot of immigrants on the Parliament Hill. I said, they're immigrants, and we are the owners of this land. Why are we treated so different? If another country was asking the Prime Minister and the Crown for a meeting, they would be right there in seconds. But us, it's been how many days? 28 days, 29 days, and he doesn't respond. That's really dishonorable from him to do such thing. And as a leader, he's supposed to protect the women and children, not to abuse them. And I'm a resident school survivor. He apologized for that, but what I've seen so far,
it took them a long time.
Yes, now he's doing that as a resident school survivor. Like, it's a shame for him to be like that as a leader. Like, he has to remember that the people put him there. He didn't put himself there. He needs to listen to the people. So.
Okay, we're going to wrap up, but how do you feel about a lot of nations across Canada and the U.S. doing their own protesting or even joining in to help support this movement and all of this support towards you?
I'm really honored. Like I said, I didn't expect that, but I could see they're there with us. They want to walk with us, and our children, their children, they do want to walk together. And it's just the government level that doesn't want to recognize and honor our treaties in our relationship. So I'm really honored to see other countries opening their heart and understanding what we're going through. And it's about unifying together, like standing together. And this is why the Creator put us here, is to love and care for each other. And seeing that, I could really see that the Creator is answering our prayers and getting all the people to stand together. So.
Is there anything else you'd like to add, or you feel is important to add?
Well, I'm really overwhelmed and humbled to be in this land here, and because Gilbert White Duck and his council, who are very kind to have me here. They're the ones who offered me this, and I'm really, by sitting here, I'm learning a lot, and I want to say thank you to all the people that give us support through their prayers and drumming, and my helpers are here too. And also there's Jean and Raymond who are fasting with me. I know one of them is 1 week behind me and 1 day behind me. So without them, I don't think I gotta survive this. But I just want to get Canadian citizens to know that we're here as long as the sun shines and the grass grows and the river flows, and it's important for us to work together and start caring for each other, not to harass each other, and and for Kenyan citizens, to really understand the treaty. And I think once they understand that, I think they'll have more respect with themselves too, and with us too, and with the leaders. So we're here.
There's been a lot of speculation through the mainstream media about the hunger strike and is she eating? Is she not eating? What is she eating? It just drives me crazy. So here, just want to hear it from you. How has that been going, and what have you been doing to honestly keep yourself alive?
Okay, I have fish broth every day, maybe twice or 3 times a day, and I drink a lot of water, and I get medicine tea. So, and all these prayers help me, and I do a lot of praying to my Creator. So and my kids are here too, so that really helps me. And my common law spouse is here too, and with all the helpers, that keeps me alive. And all the chiefs come in here, and other traditional healers, and their teachings. I'm overwhelmed by their teachings. Like, they're so powerful, so I'm learning as I sit here, and the nurse come and checks me every 4 days or so. So the last report was good. Just my blood pressure is going down, but other than that, I'm just getting weak and more tired. So other than that, my heartbeat is good. It's still good. Going.
Well, we hope that you stay in good health and that it doesn't go bad, if you will. So I wish you all the best of luck, and thank you for coming on and allowing us to interview you.
Thank you.
And it has been 29 days now since Chief Theresa Spence has began her hunger strike, which took place on December 11th, and it was to draw national attention in hopes of solving some of the issues across Indian country and of course in her community. But here in Ottawa, Parliament Hill has failed to answer fully. There is supposed to be a meeting taking place with Stephen Harper, and of course AFN has stepped in and organized a meeting with chiefs from all levels, Kahnawake included. We will keep you posted on the development of this story, but we hope you enjoyed her interview. I'm Regan Jacobs reporting from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, for Mohawk TV. We hope you enjoyed this interview, and stay tuned over the next coming weeks.
Kanya ke haga thadi adaraste kayerniga hiadu zewaderoru.